All right, it's time for us to see the headlines today. Let's see what the headlines are across Nigerian newspapers. And to make sense of all of these, I have my regulars. Dr. Ekere is here from the University of Lagos, senior lecturer, and nice to have you join me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great.
Good morning.
And I have journalist Odufowokan here as well. Dari, good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
great. Right, let's start from Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint says March 26 Convention Committee list. APC shuts out Buni, Akpanudehe, Fani Kayode and others. Zones national chairman to North Central, Southwest gets secretary. Holds NEC meeting Thursday, reduces convention committee members. Okay, all that on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. All right, let's go to Daily Independent. How 5 APC governors staged a coup against Buni. Yobe governor, Akpanudehe names missing in convention committee list. APC senators insist Buni remains party's caretaker chairman. Okay, that's a Daily Independent. Leadership newspaper, Buni won't return as APC caretaker committee chairman. El-Rufai saying this, that's the governor of Kaduna State, says NEC will ratify his removal next week. President asked us to vacate court order stopping convention. And Buni remains chairman. APC senators insist. All right, it's all still political issues in there. The Nation newspaper is next. El-Rufai is saying 19 APC governors endorsed Buni's removal. All right, and Buhari rebuffs lobbyists. Yobe governor Akpanudehe excluded from the convention committee. A Senate caucus stands by a CECPC chair, and party releases National Working Committee zoning formula and NEC meeting for March 17. All right, then let's go to Nigerian Tribune. APC convention is the focus here. Why Buhari removed Buni. El-Rufai is trying to offer some tips and highlights in there. Buhari North Central governors to meet with chairmanship aspirants to achieve consensus candidates. And as APC officially unveils power sharing across zones, North Central gets chairman and Southwest national secretary. Okay, that's the Tribune. The Punch newspaper, Buni's lawyers rebels colluded to procure judgment stopping convention. El-Rufai is quoted as saying this. All right, and Buhari 19 governors behind Buni's removal support Bello as new chair. Kaduna governor is saying this. All right, all that on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Vanguard is next. Intrigues as APC toes Buhari's line, zones chair to North Central. And Modu Sharif, Yari, others edged out. Okay, and Senators Mustafa, others battle Senator Adamu for party chair. All right, all that on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. News Direct is next, and it says alleged candidate in position, 4 notable APC governors to decamp. There must be level playing field for all contestants. Officials are saying this. All right, now let's move to this Nigeria. This Nigeria says rejigging amended Electoral Act. No, Mr. President. All right. In rare display of courage, Senate throws out Buhari's request. Overwhelming nay votes silence Omoagege's plea. All right. This is Nigeria. The Sun, Daily Sun is next. Electoral Act. Senate rejects Buhari's amendment request. Passes proceeds of crime bill. Okay. All right, that's Daily Sun. The Guardian is next. The Guardian says lawyers others hail as Senate rejects Buhari's request. Okay, that's on the Guardian. And from there, let's go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust says as Senate rejects Buhari's request, Amechi, Malami, Ngige, others in tight corner. All right, mandated to resign before party primaries. Lawmakers violate understanding with President. Ekere is saying this. All right, all that on the front page of the Daily Trust. First News is next. Banditry concerns as Kebbi Deputy Governor narrowly escapes death. This is really a thing of concern there. That's the First News. From there, let's go to Business Day. Russia-Ukraine war, stoking Nigerians' rising living costs. Okay, that's what Business Day has in there. National economy, why Nigerian mini grids are underutilized. Okay, that's what a report is saying there. Why Nigerian mini grids are underutilized. Okay, that's the last one we're seeing now. Okay, now, gentlemen, let's look at the two issues I'd like us to look at here. I'd like us to look at the Electoral Act Amendment Bill as rejected by the Senate, and I also like us to take a peep into the APC convention that is coming fast. And let's see. Now, the point there is, if you see the News Direct alleged candidate in position, 4 notable APC governors to the camp, and that there must be level playing field. It is no longer news that the president had, thrown his weight behind the issue of a consensus candidate, for whoever emerges the national chairman, and that has been the way it was, all the while. But some people are not comfortable with this. Some party members are feeling that why don't you allow all of us to do this, and so on. Dari, let me start with you on this. I wonder what you make of this decision to, adopt the consensus candidate. Of course, it's one of the ways that the Electoral Act has said that candidates can emerge, but some people are not comfortable with it.
No, it's constitutional. Following the amendment of the Electoral, it is now constitutional. It is not against any law of the land. But what we must also know is that there are options. It is either consensus, direct, or indirect. So if it is, and then we must also know that Mr. President is yet to publicly say, this is my position. We are all assuming based on what we can pick here and there. And if it is Mr. President's opinion or choice, if it is acceptable to other party members, I don't see anything wrong in it. It makes the process smoother. If it is acceptable to other party leaders, chieftains, stakeholders, but if it is not, it is obvious that consensus cannot be applied unless there is the consent of all stakeholders. So how do you go about consensus? You go to the convention and ratify the consensus candidate. So if they get to the convention and they call for ratification and people say no, there will have to be another process. So I don't see it as something we should really flog beyond the ordinary. Mr. President desires a consensus candidate. Fine, he will have to work hard to ensure that he convinces his party members to accept it. If he succeeds in doing that, well, it's okay. It's within the laws of the land. But if party members, realizing the powers they have as members of the party, as stakeholders, as elders and leaders of the party, and they feel that Mr. President's choice is not good enough, this is a test case, a very good test case for the new Electoral Act. They simply say no in a very respectful manner. How? At the convention. The other contenders, if they step down willingly before the convention, is Mr. President to blame? Meaning they are also agreeing to the issue of consensus. But if there one or two of them says no, I don't agree to this, then it cannot be stopped. He or she cannot be stopped from participating in the convention. So go to the convention and present yourself against Mr. President's choice. And if the people truly believe that yes, this is a better choice, then they will reject, they will refuse to ratify Mr. President's consensus candidate.
All right.
And then there will be need for a proper election. And let's see who wins.
All right. Now, Dr. Ekere, some analysts have started looking at this issue of the powers that the president wields within the party. Because the point there is that the party owns the seat for that time. The president is one out of the party. The party is bigger than the president from the perspective of the political party. But so when every party member waits for the president, the body language of the president or the opinion of the president to make choices of this kind, what do you make of this?
Thank you. I want to believe that party politics has its own uniqueness. And parties have their various constitutions. We can see that some of the parties have actually made the president the leader of the party.
Of course. Even in the previous political party.
The governors, the leaders at the state level and the rest. Not only that, we equally have another terrible attitude towards people in political positions. You hear people say that they call the president the father of the country, as if he's the oldest man in Nigeria. So is it the office that makes him the father? It's not. You see, so we have an attitude towards this kind of things, such that we have left the rudiments of party politics. Ideally, in party politics, the people own the party. But this time around, it is the governors and the president that now own the party, because people don't even provide any form of funding. Usually, those who bring the funds are the ones who will determine or dictate here. So that is what is happening. So it's a function of attitude or a kind of disposition we now have in this particular political dispensation, where parties will operate based on any strong ideological leaning, but it's about some persons with respect to how much they have and the rest of it. So it's a huge challenge, and I want to believe that we will not get it right if we continue in this manner. Until people actually own the party, you will not be able to make any kind of influence. You will not be able to make choices. The choices will be so limited that those who fund the parties are the ones who will eventually determine what happens. And that's what we are seeing now. I want to believe that this particular situation of looking at president's body language and all the rest does not augur well for a system like ours. We should have a system that will be able to do proper interaction, that will be able to do serious analysis and examination of whatever we want to do, so that we can arrive at the kind of candidates that will eventually be able to deliver. Otherwise, what we will continue to have is this kind of scenario where at the end of the day, people will make so much noise at the, it's on out that we are just on the same spot, if not going behind.
Okay. Now, Dari, the point there is, when it comes to the issue of Governor Buni and Governor Bello, acting chairman of the political party, it seems governors are on one hand and then the senators are on the other hand. Everyone looking towards this build-up to the convention, where, of course, governors wield a lot of influence, and you can't also, wave by the hand the influence of senators as well. So what do you make of this kind of division, in the build-up to a national convention like this?
I see interests. That's all. It's just interest. Neither group is doing what they are doing out of any other thing than group interest. Governors have some things to protect. Senators have some things to demand. And they are going to the convention. Whoever emerges in these party offices will largely determine which group or which caucus within the party have the upper hand after the convention going forward to 2023. Those are the things that are happening. And if you look at it, that is why I am not too keen to support those who now want to blame President Muhammadu Buhari about his recent decisions to be interested in what happens within his party. Nigeria, this is Nigeria. You never can really say what Nigerians want. I recall vividly that Nigerians strongly scolded Mr. President for being too aloof. That what kind of president party man is this?
We remember.
He's not interested in what is happening in his party. They are doing this, he's not talking. They are doing it, he say go and do it. And now, maybe somebody finally got to speak to him, and convince him that, Mr. President, you can't disassociate yourself from happenings within your party. It has a way of affecting your administration, which is the truth. He's first a politician before he became Mr. President. And he's first a member of a political party before he became Mr. President. So I see no wrong in his also being interested in what goes on within his party. Politics is a game of numbers. It's a game of people. It's a game of interests. So Mr. President probably is aligning in his head with. So if you look at the division between the governors and the senators, as you want to see it, it is political, and it is something we all should expect. This is an election year, and the party is not only going there, not that, to elect leaders. Based on what Buni read out, the party is going there to amend its constitutions, to make rules for itself. Look at something that happened, and I am very sure one of the reasons why we saw the power play that seems to be pushing Buni out now. He introduced zonal leadership for APC. It is not in the constitution.
Yeah.
But he insisted that the zonal leaders will be elected before the convention. You know what that means? They will be delegates. Those elected at zonal level becomes automatic delegates to the convention. So if the governors at the zonal level are able to gather all the zonal
delegates
slots,
from
they
the
have
zone.
more delegates. If he was working in tandem with the senators and they were the ones who were able to gather all the, they will have more delegates. So you can understand why this we have this kind of face-off. Some people's interests are being threatened by the interests of other people, and it appears some people are having the upper hand while the others are, below par. So it is expected in politics that when interests clash, people will clash. It is only when interest is some sort, they find a way of managing. Okay, you take your own, and by the time they start taking the meat from the pot, take your own, I take my own. Take your own, I take my own.
We have an empty pot, and then we'll have an empty pot. And the children won't have anything to eat.
Well, we the children. We the children.
We the children. All right. Now let's move to something else. I'd like us to look at briefly the Electoral Act, which was signed by the president. He, within a short period of time, he sent it back to the National Assembly to amend sections that he feels that disenfranchises a lot of people, and it is an area of contention which people are looking at, politicians are looking at, Nigerians are looking at. Although the National Assembly has received a lot of commendation for passing the Electoral Act, but some politicians are not comfortable with this, especially the clause that says if you are in position and you want to contest for anything, you have to resign your office. So it means anybody who wants to contest for president, governor, whatever the thing is in 2023, and you're still in power at this time, you're holding any political office, by now you should be resigning.
Yeah, it's a very interesting scenario, really. But I think more importantly, it's about, or it should be about political appointees. Okay. And for me, it's a very sensitive issue, because you discover that much of what they do is with the resources of the office. The campaigns they embark on and the rest of it, they use their influence in that particular office they occupy. They use the resources of the office. Some even use the security apparatus attached to those offices and the rest. They even use official vehicles for campaign as well. And I think it will make a lot of sense for us to have a level playing field for everybody. Let everybody be on the same page. If you were a minister and you now have interest in becoming a governor, then leave that office. Let's see that you are coming from a neutral perspective. Very neutral, so that you don't use the influence of that office to bulldoze your way. I think that would make a lot of sense, really. Now, but my worry really is that the president actually returned this bill when it was sent to him. If these were some of the issues that he felt should be addressed, why did he raise the issues then?
He actually raised the issue
Yes,
on the day he was signing it.
The ones he raised that were addressed, he kept this one for a long time too before he eventually signed. If at the point they brought this into him, he noticed that, or maybe he thought it was going to be business as usual, that he would send a bill and the chorus, the chorus of acceptance that they normally do, and all the rest.
And the nays.
That this time around it was going to be like that.
The nays had it this time around.
Yeah, so for me, I think it was a miscalculation on his part, because these are things. Ideally, when you are sending a bill back that I cannot, endorse this bill for this, you should be able to list out those things, and there should be reconciliation. As long as you are the president and the National Assembly is an arm of the government as well, nothing stops, the working together of the two arms. It shouldn't be like a total separation. There's supposed to be some level of relationship. So these are the things I am looking at. I feel this thing should be addressed, and that will be harmonized properly. So that all this issue of sign today, send it back tomorrow for amendment should not even be there at all. So for me, I think it is important, and that those who are seeking political positions should actually come from a plain position, very neutral perspective, so that everybody will contest from the same position. You don't use your office as a form of advantage, to the detriment of others, so that you don't just begin to get a kind of upper hand from the particular office you occupy. I think it makes a lot of sense for me.
All right. Now, Dari, do you think, as Dr. Ekere is saying, does this, create a level playing field necessarily for candidates when they are all coming on the same? For instance, we have some ministers right now and some other appointees or government officials. If they resign and they want to, just in 1 minute, does this necessarily create that level playing field?
No, I'm not even approaching this issue from that perspective. Okay. My take on it is that you cannot, because of your aspiration, disturb the business of government. The new Electoral Act is merely affirming what has always been a moral position. If you want to aspire for something new, resign from the old one, so that you can concentrate on winning your target, and the business of government is not disturbed by your absence or by your aspiration. If you are a minister and you are contesting for the governorship of your state, you will move the apparatus of government in your ministry to your state to go and contest election. Your security aides will go with you, your personal aides will go with you, some overzealous staff of government will follow you, and the entire business of that ministry is stalled. We don't even need a law for you as an imam, for you as a person to know you should leave that office. It is just something expected of you, so that the business of government that you are currently saddled with does not suffer.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
All right. We have to leave you here now. Thank you so much, Dari Odufowokan, for coming on the program today. Thank you for your insight. Dr. Dan Ekere, thank you very much for coming as well.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Right.